welcome to the UNIQUEfemme podcast. I'm here with Haley Bowler-Cooke. Oh my God, what a gift. I'm so excited right now.
We're in person.
Yeah, we're in person. We love it. We're like the same. And I want to talk about that first time that we met because energetically it was like two electric currents coming together in the most magical way. Yeah. And I want to talk about that moment. But first I'm going to introduce you. And I'm going to calm down because I'm so excited. Okay. Founder and CEO of Uplift Lifestyle Incorporated, host of a top 20 lifestyle podcast, Uplift Lifestyle Podcast, speaker, thought leader, facilitator. She is everywhere. Best-selling author of Unfuckwithable, which can confirm is next level. I love it. There's some sunscreen on it because
that's a vibe.
At the beach.
Take it to the beach.
Oh, I take it everywhere.
That's great. What the soft cover is for. Like, I feel like the soft cover is like, take it everywhere. Travel with it. Get it wet. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Let it live.
It's been lived. That's what I like. Anyways, I took it with me to St. Martin, and I loved it.
Vibes.
I am so excited. Yeah, you see that beautiful, those marks right there?
Those are some St. Martin marks,
That's
baby.
Right. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for coming here to record with me today and to have a conversation. My heart's so full. I'm so excited. This podcast, what we're doing today for this one is we're actually just going to get to know each other with you guys because there's something so magical about watching, I think, two heart-led, soul-led humans come together and share their stories and connect. And I mean, if you know me, you know that something that I care deeply about is nervous system regulation and feeling safe in our bodies and just being in our bodies, and community and getting to know each other and watching that is actually a form of regulating your nervous system and stepping into your body. So hopefully that helps you with that too. Okay, should we just start with the first time that we met?
Yeah,
and then
go.
I would love to hear more about your story.
Let's go there.
The first time that we met, we were both speaking at Carissa Lynn's event at Ivy. And I remember I was facilitating my workshop and you came in during it. So I didn't know that you were the next speaker because we were all kind of doing it together. And I remember I grabbed your hands. I was like, do I know you? And my soul was like, your soul knows her. There's some connection. And we just hugged. Yeah. We just hugged for like a good 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Like it was, and then when you did your workshop, I connected so deeply to it. And it was, you know, there were definitely some similarities. I was like, this is my vibe. Like this was so incredible and it was so powerful. And I was able to witness everybody else's energy shift when they were doing your workshop and listening to your story. And it was just so powerful. So instantly I was like, I cannot wait to reconnect with this incredible human. So just thank you. Because that moment I remember.
Yeah, I do too. I remember meeting you and I was like just coming in a little bit later. I was only there for like a 30-minute workshop and then to sell some of my books. And shout out to Carissa for putting that event on.
Beautiful.
And bringing together like heart-led, soul-led entrepreneurs in the community. That was so fabulous. Yeah. I had never met you. I didn't know who you were. But when I came in and I saw what you were doing, I was like, yes, thank you. Like it felt like you were preparing everyone for what I was about to do. Like you loosened people up. Like you really let people get in their bodies. And that's what I do. But it was like, we could take it even deeper when I started because you had already gone there, you know, like you were doing it. And then I met you and obviously your audience knows you because they've been in your community for a while, but like we just met that one time and now I'm in your home and the energy in your home it's so warm. It's like, I feel like I can just like, and I'm a pretty comfortable person. I let myself get quite comfortable wherever I am, but you just make it extra comfortable. You're very embodied. And I think that in my industry, and I'm sure in your industry, it's not rare. We're used to that, but it's still refreshing every time you meet someone who's like that because I don't know. There's a lot of people walking around with masks on. And I just feel like you are like, this is who I am. Come into my home. And like you gave me a little tour and you got me a matcha and cheers. I just feel I feel held in your energy. And I know that your audience obviously knows that about you, but you're in very good hands here with Cynthia because you're living it. You're living it. And yeah, it's special. So
Thank you.
I loved meeting you,
saying
and I love that I'm here.
I love that you're here too. And thank you. And that means so much coming from you, because you have such a knowledge and deep, I mean, intuition and understanding of energy. I know that you can feel it and sense it. So to hear that from you is such a compliment and means so much. So thank you. And so I would love to know more about, I heard a little bit about your story, and I absolutely loved it when you were presenting and sharing with us. Could you share a little bit about, how you came into your industry and into your own gifts, when you started kind of really honoring them and then sharing them with the world?
Yeah. So we're in London right now as we're recording this. So it's very full circle. I'm actually getting together with my Western girls tonight, which is so fun. Like very like, ooh, like I love when and everyone should do this at home. Like, and when we're sharing our stories, listen and go, I'm the main character. I'm the main character. I'm the main character.
Yes.
So whatever me and Cynthia are sharing, you're listening going, oh, I resonate. Oh, that's like me in this, like always connecting it back to yourself. So you really get what you need to get out of this conversation. But I often will look at like timelines of like, every time I come to London, for instance, because I went to Western here, I'm always like, my life has changed so much. And it's almost like a geographical, like, point in time where I can be like, since I was here last, here's what's changed.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it feels really good to be here. But at Western, I was studying clinical kinesiology, and I was very obsessed with the human body. Like I crushed it. I was on the Dean's Honor list. I was getting 90s. Like it was so easy for me because I was like literally obsessed with the human body. And in my third year, so my last 2 years at Western, I wasn't like your average university student either, because I went there after I'd already gone to college for 2 years, and I had already done 2 years where I had a personal training business. So I was very like a mature student, even though I was still young. Obviously, looking back, I'm still young right now. I'm 30 years old as we're speaking, but like I was mature for the demographic. And when I was in my third year, I got my own apartment, and it was like pretty bougie for a university student. I also worked almost full-time. Like I was literally working full-time personal training and fitness instructing because I loved it, and I loved making money, and I loved helping people. And I was just like really good at it, honestly. So I was very comfortable early on, before I developed the gifts that I have now as a channel and the intuitive work that I do. I was very comfortable with people, like being one-on-one with people and asking about their goals, asking about what's important to you, getting to know them on like a very holistic level. That was always really important to me. So even as a personal trainer, it was like, tell me about your family, tell me about your nutrition, tell me about your career, tell me about your like desires. Like we would often talk about hobbies and desires and things that go beyond just like, I'm here to get fit,
Right.
So I was very comfortable with that. And when it came time that I was graduating in 2020, and this thing that was not long ago, but that's when I graduated. And I graduated, and I had, in my third year, I had also started my podcast, Uplift Lifestyle Podcast. So I was very much like building a personal brand. And I'm always telling young people that listen, like, or not even young, but if you know you want to get started and do your own thing, like you're always branding. You're always personal branding. Like people think of me a certain way. And that's why I love how embodied you are, because it's who you are and it's who I am. So this isn't like I'm in my best mode, so everyone come listen to me talk. It's like, I can be in like a really bad mood. I can be really low. I can be like deep in my feelings and still have that same impact on people, because it's just who I am.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So I was always personal branding, like authenticity and joy and happiness and realness. Like if I wasn't joyful, it was rare, but if I wasn't, I was like really, really going through something, and I would be very honest about that. And I practiced doing that with my personal training clients. I'd be like, here's what I'm going through, and here's how I'm dealing with it. And those conversations seem to be the most powerful.
Yeah.
And naturally, as I was graduating, my podcast was growing. The gym I was working at closed down because of everything that was going on with COVID. And I really shifted online based off like necessity, right? When I shifted online and I was doing personal training online, it was starting to just feel really misaligned. It was like extracting. And I often talk about life giving and extracting. And I'm sure your audience is familiar with this, but like if it's extracting, it's pulling your resources. If it's life giving, it's giving you resources. Yes. And I just knew, I was like, this isn't it anymore. And I've never been afraid. I actually also had a tech company. I forgot to mention, it's kind of like old news, but I was also piloting a tech company at the same time, working with the Western University as well, like in their business sector. And I learned a lot of business stuff doing that, which was awesome. But I was piloting a tech company. I had my podcast. I also had like fully booked out one-on-one clients with personal training. So I kind of already had the vibe of like, I'm never going to work for anyone.
Right.
I'm not going to like, I already just third year university. I was like, I'm an entrepreneur. My mom's an entrepreneur and my sister is a singer-songwriter, artist, creative. Like beautiful. I'm very like, it's natural for people in my life to just do what we do. I was also really smart to get mentorship early, even before I knew it was mentorship. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was just kind of listening and learning and impressing people. And they were like, ooh, come with me and let me show you. And it just really worked for me. But when I was shifting into the online space, even though like it can seem disconnecting to be over Zoom or something, when you think of it as a miracle that we can do this, that like wherever you're watching this, you might be watching this in another country, like that's really cool. And I remember I never really used Zoom or FaceTime. I didn't really know it was a thing back then. No, none of us did, right? Yeah. It was like very new.
Whole new world already.
But I kind of liked it because I was like, this is different. And I actually was able to get deeper with clients. And there was something about like not physically touching with certain clients that allowed them to be more vulnerable.
Yes. Yeah. I hear that from clients sometimes too. Yeah. Dance, same thing. It was like there's like a protective shield in some sense. Like they have some form of control. They're in their own environment. There's something about that.
Mm-hmm. That was major. And it allowed for much deeper conversations to be had. And as I started to openly and honestly communicate with my very loyal, amazing clients that I wasn't feeling fulfilled doing just the body work and that we were going to switch into more energy work, coaching, because I was already doing that, but I was just now like, oh, I can literally just do this.
Yeah.
I'm already doing it. I might as well
lights me up. Yeah.
Why are we like holding weights? Like, let's just get to it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, majority of the clients transitioned over to that. And a couple were like, honestly, like, I love you, but I just need like physical personal training. And it was just this really organic growth. It was like, and I think looking back, I'm like, holy shit, I was successful really early. But at the same time, if I think about like the years in the making of like personal branding and growing and like learning and listening and strategy, like all of that, and energetics is huge. When I said my mom's an entrepreneur, she owns a retreat center. So we're very like spiritual family. It was just, it's like, it was years in the making, but it also was just like, boom. And that's how a quantum leap can happen. It's like all of a sudden now you're in a new reality. My podcast started doing really well. People were finding me online. I started just really having fun with it. I think if anyone's listening and they're like, oh, like this is really, you know, inspiring or resonating, like the vibe back then for me, like I never had like financial goals. I never had, you know, I never created illusions of pressure either. I was never like, I need to make this amount or I need to sign this many clients. I was just like being myself and having fun with it. And that's when like so much momentum occurred.
Yes.
So much momentum.
So good. Yes.
And then fast forward, here we are sitting today. And obviously like every day for me is like a year, like in terms of growth, in terms of like self-study, self-reflection, self-awareness, diligent alignment, like extremely high standards. Even like sitting here, like I said to you, you know, I wouldn't do this with everyone, but I get such amazing energy from you and I want to be in your physical energy space. Like there's just very high standards and very clear, like yes, no, very clear in my life. So a lot of it is added up, but now I'm sitting here. I work with clients all over the world. I run in-person events, online events. I'm a best-selling author. My book was requested by the New York Times. it was shared by Gwyneth Paltrow on her
Yes.
Instagram.
I saw that. That's
It was
incredible.
so fun.
And not surprising, honestly, because it's brilliant.
It was so, so just things like that have been, it's like, oh my God, how did that happen? It's like, well, I couldn't have told you how, but as I reverse engineer, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, like, so I'm here. I'm so grateful. I work with people across all industries now. Like I'm working with athletes. I'm working within corporations. I'm working with colleges and universities. I'm working with business owners, entrepreneurs, creators. And it's like, I was just talking about this with a client today of like, my capacity is so big because it has to be. Like there's no room, speaking of nervous system regulation, there's no room for me to be like, I can't do it. This is too much. It's like the only option is to be like, I can do this. I've got it.
Yes.
And like the regulation, because I want what I want so much, the regulation is like, there's no other choice. I have to regulate or my body will put me on my ass.
Yes.
As it has done. I've talked for a long time. I want to go over to you, but my body put me on my ass in 2024 with my near-death experience. I don't know if we've talked about that.
I didn't know this.
You didn't know about that?
I do not know about this.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that.
Yes, I want to know about this.
We'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah, that really changed my trajectory. That was March 20th, 2024. It was 1 week into my Saturn return, and it was just like a wild experience spiritually.
Wow.
And then it changed my life physically, and now I know what it feels like to push and not listen. And I learned on a very extreme level of actually dying and coming back in the same body. And so in terms of like expansion, it's like I've expanded so much. I'm just doing it, and I've been doing it. What worked for me then, but that wouldn't work now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've expanded so much that my nervous system, it has to be regulated or that will happen again. And I'm not available for that. So yeah, that's a lot. Wow. I hope you're all listening going, ooh, this is resonant. But I want to hear about you because I adore you. I feel like I'm just kind of getting to know you, and I'm someone who's not like, I'm on social media a lot posting, but I'm not seeing and receiving. But anytime I do catch your stuff, I get this energy like you're a collaborator and a community builder. You have your own, I feel like you're so embodied and individuated that you're like, I know who I am, that you just are like, come on in. And I just feel that about you. And
thank you.
I'd love to hear your story. Yes. Like I want to hear where it all started.
Well, okay. Well, thank you. And honestly, just thank you for sharing your story too. And I think it's so beautiful. And I love how you pulled in the nervous system regulation, but what I really loved about it was like, it sounds like you just continuously took aligned and inspired action, like inspired action from your feminine, from a place of joy, from a place of creativity. And I think it's that continuous inspired action in the moment. We don't necessarily need to know exactly where we're going or how we're going to get there. It's just like, just trust and just do what feels aligned. Tap into your body, but again, we can't do that unless we're in our body and we're tapping into our intuition. But how magical that also you honored yourself so deeply at quite a young age. Like I was not doing that in my early 20s. Like I also started university late. Well, late. I went to college for 2 years. I went to Fanshawe because I wanted to get a business diploma for dance, and then I was like, actually, I'll go into psychology, and so I'll go into that story. But it's a beautiful story, and I know we're going to touch on your really it sounds like propelling experience, because I feel like those propel us into kind of who our gifts, right? Our gifts are found in our shadows, but I think how beautiful. So and my story is, I mean, I was a teacher for 12 years. Okay. I was an educator. So
I didn't know that.
I was married when I was 26, and I had my daughter like very shortly after. I mean, like, I think we got pregnant right after the wedding. And I started my teaching career all in the same year. 2012 was just all three.
It's a big year for
It was a big year. I had gone, like, I did my business diploma. I went to Western. I went to King's for psychology, and I was really hoping actually to do my master's in counseling psychology. That was something that I was obsessed with. Like, I want to know, how does our brain work? Like, how do we internalize our beliefs. Like there was just so much that I wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided, you know what, I'll go into teaching for a while. Maybe eventually I'll come back and do my master's. So then I went to teacher's college and I became a teacher. And I actually went back to the high school that I went to and taught there.
Oh,
so that was a whole experience and it was great. And I loved teaching. I really did. I taught grade 8. And I loved having them like be my kids, you know, like I loved them.
You'd be such an amazing teacher.
It was
fun
great.
era.
It was. And it was like, and it became my life. But then I had my daughter and then, but there was something missing. That was dance. I had stopped dancing. I was teaching at dance studios and I was like, I knew that there was something missing. And it's so interesting how the things that, happen in our lives actually lead us into a completely different journey. And then later you look back and you go, thank God, right? Because I rediscovered my love for dance and movement because of my daughter, which generally we go, our kids kind of, maybe you get too busy to do things you love. My daughter actually led me back into my dance journey.
Nice.
And the reason was, I was trying to get into a different school as a teacher. My principal didn't want me to. And the reason I wanted to move schools was so I could eventually be at the same school as my daughter when she went to school. So I was like, I'm going to leave my school. And my principal was like, I really don't want you to leave. Please stay with us. So he was like, what if I give you a dance academy? And I was like, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but I have to get certified as a dance educator. So I went to Toronto that year and became a dance educator.
Wow.
That summer. And I, in that there's somatic movement. We learned so much about somatic movement, about storytelling through movement. Like it was more than just, not just dance, but like performing. It was storytelling. It was healing. It was embodiment and pulling it into the curriculum. And I was like, this is brilliant. So that's how I went back into the studio, started dancing again, joined a professional dance company, and then opened my own dance company, which was a professional dance company. So that's how I got into like my dance company side. Wow. And dance for me is so important. Like it's one of those things that it's so easy to go, I don't have time to do that thing that I love, but your business literally and your relationships, everything depend on it, on doing that thing that you love. And dance for me is very much that. So I went on to produce music videos and do all of these things in the dance industry that as a kid and a teenager in my early 20s, I had dreamt of, but seemed like that's impossible. That's never going to happen for me. And I started my dance career when I was 29, 30. Really, I got back into dance and I didn't become a professional dancer until I was like 31, which in the dance scene doesn't happen. And I was actually the only mom at my dance studio. So there was some like beliefs that I really had to break through, and I had to lead with that doubt of like, do I fit in here? Like I had some imposter syndrome of like, am I too old? And that was a major, I think, breakthrough in terms of like, you're talking about branding. I was like, my branding became, I'm the mom who dances, and was like, I don't give a shit. I'm still going to do what I love. And you get to be a mom and you still get to have a beautiful life for yourself. And in fact, your kids are going to benefit because they're watching. Yeah. And so that became my like, no more. And now we have tons of moms at the studio who are like, this is giving me life back, because it's so easy to lose ourselves in motherhood, especially in today's society and the pressures that come with it. So, and then now, I've produced music videos. I've choreographed for Dance Ontario, London Arts Council. I've received grants. I'm facilitating a movement residency at the end of April. We've already started. And one of our pieces is human design.
Oh, I love that. So what's your human design, by the way?
I'm a generator.
Okay. What's your profile?
I'm a 4-2. I'm a sacral, obviously.
Sacral,
and respond. I respond. What are you?
Love it. So I'm a projector.
Oh, cool.
5-1.
Ooh.
Yeah. 5-1 projector, and my authority self-projected. So it's a very unique one.
Unique. Yeah. That's completely different.
Yeah.
We don't even usually necessarily talk about those in workshops because I have a human design expert on my team. Yeah. And that's one that doesn't come up a lot.
Self-projected. Yeah. Yeah. Do you maybe say mental?
We do. Yeah.
That's like they're different, but mental's like the most similar.
Okay. Apparently. Okay. That one she'll talk about a little bit more. She's an expert Oh my God, I can go into
She'll
human
know.
design.
I can go into it too. I have a human design reader on my team too.
Hey,
it's
oh
so
my
important.
God.
And I'm
yes.
like, I send all my clients to her. I'm like,
Yes.
go find out and then tell me.
Yeah, because even as a coach, it's so helpful because I'm like,
so helpful.
because even for a projector, I have 2 clients who own a business together.
Okay.
One is definitely a generator. We don't actually know because she's finding out her
but you
power,
can tell.
but you can still tell.
Yeah.
And I was like, we could still look it up and you could still have an idea if you know around the time.
Yeah.
And the other one's a projector. And in terms of she's, splenic, the other one, I'm like, you're a sacral, like classic sacral because you are me. And I was like, okay, but yes, so a projector and a sacral are going to work, or a generator are going to be so different. And it allowed them to be like, oh, that's why you're more up here and, more excited. Like we get so excited and projectors do too.
I'm a rare projector in the sense that like, I just have very high energy, but I'm also very much like, okay, bye. And then I'm like gone. Like, you got me. Now see you later. Like I'm very much so like, good. Like I'm aware of like my energy so much that I'm like, it's so big, but it's like a sacred little precious. It's like, okay, that's enough. And next.
That's what I was saying. We were saying this to our assistant because, okay, so my assistant's a projector.
Yeah.
And so she puts everything together for us, right? Because you guys see everything.
Yeah, we are a good team. So, and mine's an MG. My assistant's an MG. And there's the energy she has to do the things I just would not even imagine doing is like a blessing. Where for you have probably the energy, but she may be seeing something differently
every time.
And you're like the star of the show, right? But she's seeing, oh, here's a new idea.
Yes.
It's so fascinating and like
so fun.
It's just fun. I always say to people too, like I have an astrologer on my team, human design reader on my team as well. And I'm always like, it's not necessary. Like there's nothing wrong with you if you don't know your birth time and you don't know what you are, but like it's fun. And why not? It's just another tool in the toolbox. And like speaking to knowing what your client's type is, like when I'm channeling for a projector, it's different than when I'm channeling for a reflector or for an MG or for a generator. Like if they're going to be long-term clients, I get a whole chart reading done because I want to know like what language they speak. Yes. It's literally like a language.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yes. Oh my.
Oh, sorry. We went off.
We are just the same. Okay. This makes so much sense. We could go on. Yeah. The human design expert Lisa on our team, she's a Manny Gen. So we'll sit in meetings and we're kind of getting excited, and then our projector's like, but what if we just did this? And we're like, oh yeah, and and we laugh, and like you said, it's fun. It gets to be fun.
Like,
it's great. So yeah. And if I have long-term clients, I want to know what your human design is, because even in terms of getting clarity, well, that's for me, that's going to be just so helpful to be able to guide you in that. So, okay. So yeah. And
tangent, sorry.
Oh my God. I could go on about that one.
I interrupted you on the human design when you were saying this dance program is going to include human design.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because so that's my dance side of things. And then, so I was separated in January 2021. In January 2021 was the year where everything fell apart to fall together.
Yes.
And so January 1st, 2021, I separate from my kiddo's dad. And so I moved to my parents with my kids out of this house with my kids during COVID while trying to do online learning or teaching. It was hard. I was actually the resource teacher. I was a special education teacher.
You were a teacher still then?
I was still a teacher. Yeah. And so I separate. And then later that year in the summer, I started feeling life again. And I went straight to dance. So I created a show, and there was actually a documentary created on it. And there was, it was screened a few times as well. We made like a dance show on the beach. It was called Cleanse, Heal, Bookend. And it was like the first piece. I'd done residencies before, but this was the time that I was like, I'm going to put what we all need and tell our stories in this piece. And we're going to do it for nobody but us. So we didn't really tell people that we were going to, it wasn't performative. I was like, I don't care if people come. This is for us. And it was, when do you do that in dance or performing arts? It's to perform. Yeah. And I said, invite your close people, but this is more of a healing. So we created an entire hour and a half show in 2 weeks. I facilitated the whole thing, directed and And the owner of a studio that we dance at just happened to film the whole thing. And the way he did it was brilliant. Didn't ask him. It just all fell together. Everyone just continued to take inspired action. And, you know, so you can actually go watch this one on YouTube. It's called Cleanse, Heal, Bookend. And it was featured in a bunch of things. And that opportunity blew up my dance world. When we screened that, everything kind of blew up. I kept getting connections in different ways. I got hired by London Arts Council and other places and connected with incredible artists. So that was beautiful. So I was like at a high, right? Because I was like, oh my God, dance. And like life was
and that was
2021. That was
August. That was August. Okay.
Yeah. So that was July,
timelines.
August.
I love me a timeline.
So listen to this one. So like January 1st, accident, COVID's continuing, right? We're back online.
Yeah.
That was, oh my goodness. And then July, I think it was like 28th or something, we did the beach show. We call it the beach show because it was on the beach. It was in Port Stanley. The whole thing's on the beach. The birds were dancing with us. It was all elements for part. It was just so beautiful.
Wow.
And October 30th arrives. We're doing a gig downtown for the London Arts Council. So I've got my dancers, and then we're coming here to have a little Halloween party after. I've got my daughter with me watching the show, and so I drop a friend off, and then we're on the way home, and we get in a car accident. And we were hit on Wellington by somebody who was not meant to be driving. And she was going so fast, she crossed into oncoming traffic.
Oh, no.
It was a miracle in the sense that if she wouldn't have hit us, she would have gone into a house. There were pedestrians. And it was also the miracle in the sense that this was a Saturday at like 4 p.m. It's packed on Wellington. There was no one around us. And there were like hundreds and hundreds of cars, like right at the light behind us, which wasn't even red. Like it was just, there was just enough space around us. Wow. So I really think we were placed there for my own journey, but also to save others in that. And the fact that we made it out of there was incredible in itself. So she hit us like completely like straight on. I was able to veer a little bit. And then I just remember coming to and being like, where am I kind of thing. And there was, so I was still in the car. There was a lot of smoke. We couldn't get out because like everything was kind of in, all the airbags were off. So, and then my daughter was in the car with me. So that was, so we all got out safely. We crawled out, we pulled her out luckily, and we were able to do that. And, it was really hard because then I suffered a severe brain injury. I had a concussion, and I was like, how do I solo mom and do everything that I have to do without, I had to learn how to walk in the line again. They told me, they told me the goal is just to make you functional again. Cause I'd be like, how do I tell it to me? Like, when am I going to be back to dancing and life and being the exact person that I was before? And I remember my OT going, Cynthia, I think the question we should be asking ourselves is like, how much can we make you functional again? That's the question. And I was like, ooh. Yeah. But I think that was such a big learning moment because none of us are meant to be who were like 6 months ago. We're all meant to be in a completely different space. Yeah. And we physically are completely different. Yeah. And I think it's always happening for us, even when it doesn't feel like it. And that, was the hardest 2 years because I had to parent. I couldn't figure out how to make my kids lunch. Like I couldn't go grocery shopping. I couldn't drive for 3 months. It was like, so it took 2 years and, I was trying to get back to work, but I couldn't do screens. It was really hard. But what I realized was that after 2 years, I had like a relapse and I had to kind of restart my recovery. And I took this concussion fix course and I don't even know how I came across it, but it was like, it was aligned, right? And in this course, I was like, I'm just going to do it. And it talks about vagus nerve, nervous system regulation, breath work, all these things, and how these are really important if you're wanting to heal from anything, especially a concussion, because your nervous system is so, you're constantly in survival mode.
Yeah, you're so dysregulated.
You're so dysregulated. And so I was like, I'm going to commit fully to that. And when I started doing that, then everything changed. And then I was like, oh my God, all these practices that I'm putting in place, like my eye specialist, my team at the neurotrauma unit at Parkwood, like everything we were doing finally really started to work.
Mm-hmm.
And finally I was like, oh my God, I'm experiencing joy, and oh my God, I could do this again. And I was like, that's actually the foundation of so much. And it was trusting and surrendering, and it was adding in my spiritual practice and Reiki. And so that, that relapse was March of 2 years after that. And by August, I had made the decision, I'm not going back to my job. And my parents were like, are you nuts? Because you still aren't able to do like 10 minutes of technology. You're going to start your own business right now. And I went, yep, because I felt so claustrophobic, and I was like, I'm not meant to be there anymore. There's a reason. And so
when you face like death like that, and you face that, and your whole perspective shifts. So you became so unavailable for the career that was no longer aligned. It was great. It served its time. It was awesome. And then how could you ever go back to it after experiencing something so pivotal in your life?
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but that makes sense, right? You're like, you're not, you see life differently, and
100%.
it shifts things.
Yeah, exactly. You just said it, I think, so perfectly. It shifted what I had the capacity for, and what I was here for and what I wasn't. And I was here to do what felt aligned. I was like, and I knew that this wasn't aligned. And logically, maybe it didn't make sense. I mean, I wasn't able to be in the workspace full time anyways because of my tech intolerance and all these things. And I was like, then why don't I do something that I can do? Like I'm a generator. I can't be at home just sitting. Like
that would be tough.
Right? I'm a generator. I have so much energy, and I wasn't really able to dance if I wasn't full-time work. And there were all these loops, and I said, no. And my life changed. I started my practice last September. And within a year, I built my 2 businesses within my own capacity, within my own health needs. And I was able to then teach what literally saved me, and allowed me to be the mom that I want to be. And it makes so much sense because it was leading me to what I had exactly asked for.
Yeah.
And that was for community. It was to build a community of women who honor themselves so deeply and clear their belief systems that are hiding their gifts. And allow them to live these fulfilled, aligned lives. And because we need your gift. We need whatever that gift is. You're here. There is no flawed design. Nobody's like, we're not born with like, your design is flawed, but yours is perfect. And like we all have such a beautiful gift. And so but it was nervous system regulation that led me into this. And it's been the greatest gift. It's the best thing that's happened. And it's led me to like talking to the most incredible women, and I'm honestly so grateful. So it was hard, but it was, thank God it happened.
It was by the grace of God. Like that feels like it's a total divine intervention.
Yes.
I'm like, my body is just resonating so much because for my near-death experience, and you don't need a near-death experience to start being fully aligned. It just happened to be in both of our timelines. But thank you for sharing your story, because it's painting a picture that is like, it makes sense. Like the person I'm meeting today, well, when we first met, but seeing again today, it's like, I know there's a story there because of how embodied you are. And it's just really, it's an honor and privilege to hear that story. And I think everyone listening is feeling that as well. But yeah, the shift in direction and the challenge, like I can't imagine how challenging a divorce would be, or when you have children and a career change like that, and getting hit by a car, like all these really hard things. They are hard. I shouldn't be doing this, but like they were gifts, and and people, like we get to decide what we're perceiving. And you chose a very radically responsible and like radical accountability, and like, I'm the creator of my life and I'm using this. And that is like extremely powerful. And so with my near death, I know we have to wrap this up soon, but just a few things, because I think it's like matching. So I was living in alignment. I was more aligned than most people. I was, writing, I wrote my book. I had a thriving practice. I was doing sold out events. I was like a spiritual rock star. That's what I called myself, because I was literally doing like multiple events a week, and sometimes back to back, sometimes 2 a day.
Beautiful.
It was just like boom, boom, boom. And it was all like breath, energy, soma. Like it was so like, like it just feels so good. But it was still a lot. Like it was still almost like this old pattern of like filling every second of every day. Why? I don't know. I discovered why that was after. But like at the time, I just thought, this is just what I do. Like I'm just like, go, go, go. So I was running at a pace that was not sustainable. And one thing that I always like to note is like, even though I was doing aligned soul and heart led work, I was still often taking my name out of the hat to receive, taking my name out of the hat to feel fulfilled. Yeah. It got to the point, and like, this is I don't think many people are going to resonate with this because it's a very specific feeling, but it's the truth of how I felt. I almost felt like a slave to my gift. And it started to feel really like I started to reject and be bitter about my gift. I felt like people were taking from me. Yeah. I felt like everyone wants me. And it was I know I've heard famous people and people like that have a lot of exposure talk about this, but I was feeling that at like, a young age. I wanted way more impact than I had in terms of like fame and that type, but I still like for where I was at, I had a lot of impact. Like I was serving hundreds of people a week. It was a lot between events and clients and thousands in terms of the podcast. Like it was just like a lot of energy to always uphold. And I got to this point where like it was crazy. It was almost like when you see like a rock star go out on stage and they put on the show and then they like go behind the curtains and they're like miserable. Yeah. I wasn't miserable, but I wasn't like, that felt so good. It was like, I'm out there, I'm present when I'm in it. And it was transformative. And it is so life-changing for people that I almost felt like I have to do this. They need me. And then it became my needs aren't being met. Right. So the near-death experience happened, and I have a whole podcast episode on it. I encourage you to go listen. But basically I was in my kitchen one night. There was a million redirects that day. Like my schedule kept changing, and I remember being like pissed off that my schedule kept changing that day, being like, what the fuck? Like this is not, because my level was so like this and then this and then this and then this event here. Like it was so like I had to have that level of like precision in my calendar that I didn't have room for this rearrange. I was like, what the actual fuck? But now knowing what happened, I'm so happy that this rearranged, because if this happened anywhere else, I probably wouldn't be here. Wow. But it happened in my home with my fiance there. So, but if it happened like in the car, on the road, alone, like it could have been really bad. Mm-hmm. So I basically ended out collapsing to the floor. There's no reason for this to have happened. I had, up until that point, I would be like considered perfectly healthy. So I collapsed to the floor. I had a concussion as well because I dead weight. Like I went unconscious. You should just go listen to the whole podcast because I go into it all, but I went unconscious standing up, smashed the floor. Oh, I was out for, Mitch my fiance thinks it was like a minute and a half, but like the doctor's like, how much? And he's like, I don't fucking know. Like imagine standing over the person you love and they're like dead, because I went unconscious before I hit the floor. So it's not like I got knocked out hitting the floor. What happened was we ended up doing all this testing, obviously, and figuring out what's going on. But I have this heart condition that I didn't know about. And it's very much like winning the lottery in terms of rarity. And it's a whole thing. It makes sense. It's like this electrical current that it can pop off at any time. And it did that night. Wow. I didn't know I had it. It may the doctor, like the specialist, I got him with the best of the best. They were like, this may never happen again. This may happen regularly. If it happens again, there's a surgery we have to do. Like you can imagine, I'm hearing like heart surgery. Wow. Like my brain's going, what the actual fuck? But anyways, I did every test under the sun. Go listen to the podcast for the whole story. But when I woke back up, I'm on the floor still. And it was a blackout. And then it was like this profound feeling of like euphoria, like a feeling could never even compare to anything I've ever had. But it was like this feeling of like picture like the best orgasm you've ever had times like 25 million or something.
Crazy.
Like it was it was this amazing feeling. Crazy enough. It certainly makes me not afraid to die after this. Because I was so scared. There was a moment of like so much fear before I blacked out, because my heart was like, I could feel like I'm dying.
Oh my goodness.
Something crazy was happening. It didn't feel like a heart attack. It wasn't like, oh, I can't breathe. It was like my heart rate was so fast that my body had to collapse because it couldn't sustain it. That's kind of the technical of what happened. But before, I remember the rise happening, before I blacked out, it was so scary. And then I blacked out, and then it was like this euphoric journey. And when I came back, I literally thought it had been years. Like I was like, has it been years? And like Mitch is doing all the ambulance are there. Everyone's like, taking me to the hospital, and they're asking me questions. And I'm like, weirdly, I was in a lot of physical pain, obviously, but like I felt this weird sense of like delight. Like I was like, something cool just happened.
Wow.
It was like really weird. Like it's hard to explain other than like I felt like I just entered a new reality.
Yeah.
And it's hard to talk. Obviously, like this is not something I talk about a lot. I've done a couple podcast interviews on it, but every time I'm just like, there's no words, you guys. Like to die, that feeling was wild. And then to come back and be like, oh, I'm different now. That was wild. And the main thing that occurred for me, because I don't want to go into it too much longer, when I came back, what happened was I was so vulnerable physically because of my concussion. And also I had like weird nerve stuff that happened during that time out, like speaking and things, like everything was very like, whoa, what the fuck? But coming back, like I was so vulnerable, and I have never been vulnerable. Like I've never been someone who needs help. I've never been like, can you help me? Like I need help. I'm the one who has it all together. I'm always in my friend groups. I was always that one. In my family, I was always like, got it. And like, I have very successful friends. I have a very successful family, but I was still like the one that had her shit together,
right?
That was my level. So when it shifted into this raw vulnerability, and I needed so much help. I needed help in every area of my life. My whole life got turned upside down. And as an entrepreneur, when you're like working for your money and not having insurance and not having those sorts of things, it was like a huge wake up call too, of like, whoa, the urgency to get back to work was so like need based that I was like, this isn't right. This can't be. But what it opened me up to was the most healing year I've ever had. And this was just last year. Like I'm still like integrating a lot.
This is not that long
It was
ago.
2024.
Okay, right. Wow.
Yeah. So it was just like March 20th, 2024. I just had the year anniversary. We hosted an equinox party. You were going to maybe come.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I was like, this is low key, like a birthday party for me.
Wow.
But yeah, what I learned was all of the healing I needed to do. There was so much shadow stuff around accepting help and being vulnerable. Like I was good at being in my sexy feminine and like, oh, I'm receiving, like, in the bedroom and stuff. But like in my body was really good at receiving. But in terms of like being seen as like a raw, helpless, like I have nothing to give person, that was like very edgy for me. Like I had nothing to contribute. I was just like, I'm literally like lying in bed and I can't move. And I know you know that feeling.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's the edge was real as like this badass unfuckwithable, like it was so intense. But the healing that happened with my partner, that happened with my sister, that happened with my mom, that happened with my dad, that happened with my community, that happened with my friends. Like I just got so comfortable being like, I need help.
Yes.
And
Oh my
it
God,
was
how
like,
powerful.
it was so, I'm like, my body like vibrates thinking about it because I'm still basking in the never ending rewards of that. As scary as that was. And I know a lot of people are like, I'm so sorry that happened. It's like, I'm happy it happened.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to say that without sounding like a psychopath, but like, I'm thankful because it changed direction. I still live my purpose, but now I'm like very focused on my needs first.
Yeah.
In a way that isn't superficial and isn't like, it's just a deeper level of like, am I okay? Because I need to be okay to carry on. And now I'm on a vibe of like what I want and who I am and where I'm going is so much bigger than me. And now I can literally just be like, please help me.
Yes.
Where before I was like, personal power, self-leadership, which are skills and practices that everyone needs.
Yeah.
I was like, I had that all down. Like, I trust me, I've got me, like, period. But I didn't fully trust life. I trusted me, but I didn't trust life. And when this happened, I was like, I was forced into surrender and submission.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Like, and now I trust. Like,
Yes.
I literally like, okay. Like at any point, like I'm not trying to be dramatic, but at any point, I could have that happen again because of this genetic thing. And even if we never saw the specialist that said that, I think I would still always kind of live with the feeling of like, not fear, but deep respect for my body.
Yes.
Like some people would turn that into fear, but I was just like, this is good. This is good. And I was like, now I have to be so radically respectful of my body because it can literally, it's keeping the score. It could just be like, you're back down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as much as it was a cool ride, I don't want that to happen again. So I'm like, the standards are up in terms of my wellness. And yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for listening.
So much.
I know
for sharing.
It's a big share.
That is a big share. Thank you so much for sharing. But I loved your perspective. There's like two keywords that you said that I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Like one, that it's a gift, and like, yes, maybe to people who haven't experienced something like that, you're like, how is it a gift? That's just like, is it toxic positivity, whatever.
Yeah.
No, like literally, I remember doing a session with my coach and her asking, what are you the most grateful for in the past, like, whatever years? And I was like, my accident.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Because it has completely
Yep.
shaped you and allowed us to step into our power in a more aligned and sustainable way. And it's how we're going to be able to share our gifts.
Yeah.
And it's the game of, and then surrendering. Like it's a deep, deep surrendering. And I always like, and whenever I struggle with that, I kind of like picture myself in a canoe and you take out the paddles and you go, just take me where I'm meant to flow. And what an incredible story, and the resilience and the power that comes with being able to see the bigger picture in that story. And then, like you said, the standards are the highest for ourselves. Like holding that standard of wellness and taking radical care of your body, like what a gift. And but also like that's wild and so scary and very scary for your partner. I
know. And he's very like connected, but I don't think he had the same spiritual experience as I had. He had more of like a very scary experience witnessing that. Yeah, absolutely. Even my dog, like my baby girl, my dog was there and it was really traumatic. It was a traumatic, like not to undermine how traumatic it was. Same as your daughter in the car, like that's real. Yeah. But we're in the power seat in our lives. Yes. We are the creators. We're not victims. And that got me through in terms of mindset. But in terms of like yin yang, feminine, masculine harmony, like, I've never been such a surrendered person. Yeah. Like I know my lane and I'm going to do what it takes, but I'm also so equally like, yep, whatever life wants for me. Yeah. And like that vibe together is like a very powerful alliance.
Yes. And welcoming in the help, the welcoming in the support. Help. And that is I think in our feminine, we forget that's part of it too. Like you said, it's, and asking for help. That's actually part of being in our feminine, is asking for help and then being open to receiving it without making it be about us, without making it be about our abilities or capacity. it's allowing those gifts to come in and knowing we're deserving of them just
Yeah.
by being.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing. What a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
an honor to share it with you and hear your story, and hope that, and we'll know that everyone listening, you listening, you're listening going, okay, I feel resonance. Like I often will just tell clients too, like, it's not about those big, like, oh my God, I need a break. It's like your body's communicating all the time. And the more you can just attune and check in, like, how am I doing honestly right now? And just like this constant, like, attunement to your heart or to your sacral or to whatever feels like this is me. Constant attunement, you're going to get like, what's my next step? Oh, go lie down. Oh, go sit down. Go get fresh air. Oh, keep going. You're crushing it. Like, you're going to get a very quick bit of information that will keep you on your timeline. And if you don't listen, like, there was many, like the expression, your body whispers before it screams.
Yes.
There was many whispers.
Yes.
Oh, there were so many whispers over the last like year and a half before my near death. Like, I had heart tension. Like, if people are seeing me, like, I'm extremely fit looking. I have like a very healthy diet. I'm like the picture of health, and I know everything about health. Like, that's my career.
Yeah.
But I had this like feeling in my heart a lot. Like, a couple times a day, I'd be like, oh, I would get like a message from my heart. And at that time I was 29, right? Like, I'm young, but for about a year and a half of just motoring and putting everyone else first and being so devoted to my mission that I wasn't like checking in with the human being that was leading the mission. It was like, whoa, like a God, universe, source, life. But I believe I am God. I am the universe. I believe the oneness. So in that oneness, like, a part of me, the biggest, strongest, most powerful part of me was like, bitch, down. Like,
because we need you, and
we need you.
So therefore, you need this.
Thank you for saying that. That's what it feels like. Is like, we need you. So don't fuck around. Now.
So we're just gonna make you sit down. Just sit down.
Yeah,
sit down.
It was so intense, but it sounds like for you, the redirect. Yeah. And it feels good to share it. I do feel raw. Like, I still feel raw about it. I know it's I talk about it a fair amount, but not that often. I've done a couple podcasts on it. I don't talk about it that often. I talk about one-on-one with clients often, but like, it is raw to talk about, and therefore it feels good to talk about, and it feels nice to be seen and heard. And for everyone listening, I appreciate you listening, and just holding space for me, but also yourself and your vulnerability and your whispers before they come scream. And if they are screaming, it's okay. You're not bad or wrong. We're not judging you, but it's time to listen now. Like, it's time to listen now, or you're about to find out and listen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's doing that constant check-in with your body, constant, and opening up. We always say this, like, it's like you wouldn't have a relationship with someone without communicating.
Exactly.
Right. And checking in. And so holding that relationship. And I think that's why you and I even like do self-touch. Like, that's a form of connecting and being like, can you do that once or twice a day? Like, literally touching and going, how are you feeling? And checking in with different parts of your body. And just doing that is so powerful. Checking in and having a real conversation.
Yeah.
And doing that throughout the day, like, do it for a week and see what happens and see how you feel, because your body deserves it. You deserve it. And that's how you're going to be able to share your gifts. And then we need you. And
we need you. And I bet if you're listening to this, you have a huge purpose and mission. I know you and I know your audience are like-minded, I'm sure. Like, you are here on purpose. And treat yourself with that value, like high value. And the more you can up level the standard of how you treat yourself and the value, like, stop treating yourself like a workhorse, like start treating yourself like this precious diamond. And that's when life really does open up for you. And I've noticed that, like, no longer am I taking my name out of the hat of receiving. I'm very much like, okay, my turn. Thank you. Like, I do a lot less, but I have a lot more growth and impact. And yeah, just the refined standards have been really helpful for me. Like, I don't have to be everywhere to be impactful. I can say yes to the opportunities that feel like a really big yes. And otherwise I can say, go listen to my podcast and read my book. Like, I can't be there in person, but you can still experience my transmission. And yeah, I'm just super grateful. I'm grateful to be here.
Yes,
thank you for having me on the show. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. We love you so much. Where can we find you?
Oh, okay. So you can find me at my website, www.upliftlifestyle.ca. So I'm the founder and CEO of Uplift Lifestyle Incorporated. So Uplift Lifestyle is like my company. And then Haley Bowler-Cooke, you can also find me if you just Google my name. My website will point you to everything. It will point you to coaching. It will point you to events. It will point you to my book, my podcast. It's Uplift Lifestyle Podcast as well. And then my Instagram's at uplift_lifestyle. And I'm there a lot. I'm on TikTok as well. My assistant runs it, so I never go on, but I do have a TikTok account out there. We've got YouTube. Just put in my name. I'm sure it'll link things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll find me. You'll find me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I give you a hug?
Of course.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. What a gift to just be in your energy, to learn from you, to hear your beautiful story. And we absolutely need you. You've already provided so much light in our conversations and in my life, even though we've only met like a few times. Like, you absolutely inspire me, and I think you're just such a wonderful human, and you really do light up the room. Like, when you say that and you're like, but you actually really mean it. Like, I remember that time and I was like, oh my God, am I looking at a star? What is this? This is so much beautiful energy. So just thank you. Thank you for the love that you share and how heart-led you are, because we feel it, and I feel it. And it's been just so much fun to get to know you. So
I feel the same about you. You are also lucky to have Cynthia. Like, you are being led by a true embodied leader. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mwah. Love you so much. Thanks, everybody.